This is episode 35 of Collector's Quest, and today we have Wiggy from Rose Colored Gaming, and he talks to us about the history of Rose Colored Gaming, some of their amazing products, and you can find those amazing products on rosecoloredgaming.com. They have shirts, original artwork, they have custom display stands for just about every portable system, and the cartridges that go with them. They have custom consoles on the way. They've got a lot of great stuff, a lot of great accessories, and they are always putting more stuff out. And Wiggy will tell you why later in this episode. So be sure to check them out. All of their stuff is of the highest quality. This is stuff I have in my personal collection, so I'm vouching for them 100%. All right, everybody. Remember, if you like this episode and what we're doing, please go ahead and give us a rating on iTunes. Also, if you are listening on YouTube, go ahead and be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to refine this a little bit more. We're still in the beta phase of this, but stay tuned. Wiggy's coming up next. This is Collector's Quest, episode 35, and we are here with Kat and a guest. Hey, Kat, how's it going?
It's going good, and it's like you said, not just you and I today. We actually have a really exciting guest that a lot of people will know from Instagram and beyond. We have Wiggy here with us from Rose Colored Gaming.
Hey, Wiggy, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Good, thanks for coming on today. We really appreciate that.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're really excited to hear about your business and all the things that you guys do. I know I'm always interested when I see something pop up on my Instagram feed because you guys do a lot of really unique things, and it seems to be something that I talk to people and they automatically know who you guys are, which is amazing.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
So I guess the most logical place to start is, when did this happen? When did Rose Colored Gaming become a thing, and how did it become a thing?
I think officially it became a thing. I think it was October 2012. Like, actually started a blog at that point. But I had actually been in a car accident. I was really into car stuff. A car accident in 2011, and my friend died, and it kind of put me off the whole scene. And I lost my job at some point. The place just downsized. I was at home. My wife was making good money, and she's like, well, if you just want to kind of clean the house and, do whatever, go for it, And I was pretty bummed. I wasn't in a good place mentally, and I'd always loved video games. And before I'd gone to college, I collected for a long, long time, and I sold a good chunk of my collection in college, which afterwards was depressing but necessary. So after the car accident, I'd started messing with video game stuff. I pulled it all out of boxes, and I was playing with it, and I was going on different websites looking at what people were doing, and I saw that people were modifying these Game Boys, and I was like, in Neo Geo Pockets and whatnot. And I think the first thing I did was front light a Neo Geo Pocket for myself. And I did and have still do spend a lot of time on the coverproject.net, and I was posting some pictures of what I was doing. And someone was like, hey, can you make me one? I was like, sure. And then someone else was like, hey, can you make me one? And I was like, sure. And it just kept happening. And all of a sudden I needed a website, so I hired on an old friend to help me build the website. And things kept growing while he was building it. And I was like, hey, do you want to just stay on? And he was like, yeah. And he's still with me. And it just kept growing. And then my wife kicked us out of the house because it was like too much. It was taking over the house. And now we're in like a 2,400 square foot industrial space. And I've got four employees now. Four, I think. Yeah, 3 full-time, 1 part-time. And lots of equipment and lots of stuff to do. So, like a lot of people in this field that do this stuff, I started as my own personal hobby and became my job.
But that's amazing, because that's a really great way to do something you love every day, and the times that it is really time consuming or you're working longer or a project takes longer, you can still love it even when you hate it.
Totally. That's exactly it. People are like, oh, that must be the best job ever. I'm like, it is, but it's really hard. And as it grows, as you can imagine, it just gets more stressful, and I have to manage more people and manage more bills, but it's still great. I mean, there's never a day where I'm like, I hate my job. It's just like, I don't want to go into work today, but, whatever, it'll be over and tomorrow will be better.
A job is still a job, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you love it, a job is still a job. You are beholden to people. There's inherent stresses that come with it, even when you love it.
Right.
I think people forget that there is a certain stress level behind every job, even if you love a job.
Yeah, and there definitely is. And I often meet people like, that must be really great. I'm like, like as in that must just be really easy. And it's like, well, it's great, but it's not easy.
Right.
No, nothing good is easy though.
Right. I tell that to people all the time, actually. So yeah, and I don't like easy anyway, so that's fine. I get really bored if it was easy. So.
So I'm interested to know, obviously, how the name of the company came along.
Early on, once I was getting ready to put a blog up, I was like, well, I guess I better have a name for it. And I had a few ideas, and that one popped into my head, and I kind of doodled out some little logo things, and I texted a few pictures to some friends I've had for a long time, and asked them, and I was kind of going back to RCG, and then most of my friends that saw it were like, yeah, do that, and it just kind of stuck. It wasn't something that was really, really deep or well thought out. It was just like, okay, I got to have something, because it was the point. It was a kind of D-Day. I'm like, I need this so I can have a URL. And,
so it came from necessity as opposed to like, oh, this has a big sentimental meaning or whatnot.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. That has to happen sometimes, right?
Yeah. And it worked. So.
Well, and obviously it's doing fine. So
yeah,
no problems.
Yeah, if you make a good product, it kind of doesn't matter what the name is. Like, look at the best-selling cars in the world. They have the most boring names. So, Civic and Camry and Corolla.
Accord.
Right.
Is what I drive.
Yeah,
and,
it's a great car.
It's not exactly exciting.
Yeah, they could call it the poo-poo, and if it's a good thing, people will keep buying it. So.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what the name is, as long as the product behind it is good.
Yep, yeah.
So when you started, did you start with a certain kind of category of these are the things we're going to do, and how has it expanded, or have you explored different avenues as you kind of built the company and things have continued to get bigger and bigger?
Yeah, it started really, like I said, with modifying Neo Geo Pockets, and then a fellow in China had figured out how to make a little adapter cable, as you guys may have seen, to put old backlit Game Boy Advance SP LCDs into the original Game Boy Advance that has what many people think, including myself, a better form factor and more ergonomic. And those were huge for us for a long time. And we did some Wonder Swans, we did a lot of Game Boy Colors, Neo Geo Pockets, of course. So that was, for a long time, really it. And as things grew, I actually had come to find that Spencer from Time Walk Games, and Dave, for that matter, from Time Walk Games, were about an hour away from me, which was kind of funny because a fellow in Australia who knew us both put us together. He's like, you live really close to Spencer. And so then we started doing some repro stuff with him. And actually, after Time Walk shut down, he came and worked here with me, actually, for about 9 months on some projects. And as things have gone on, we've tried, right now what we're really working towards is having as many sustainable products as possible. Modifying the old Game Boys and old systems in general, you're dependent upon, obviously, what's out there in terms of supply. I can't just go to Best Buy and buy 30 30 Super Nintendos as if they're Xbox Ones or anything. And it just it started to get kind of tricky, sourcing this stuff. And then the LCDs for those backlit Game Boy Advances dried up, so those were no longer a product overnight. And then we really made the decision to move on with some stuff that's sustainable. So one of the things we did for a while, and we're trying to get back to, are the joysticks, the arcade type joysticks. We've got a lot of laser cut stuff now. We have a couple laser cutters here, and those have been immensely helpful in helping us create products that don't require insane amounts of labor, because that's another big problem we were running into, is everything we were doing was requiring tons of labor, and it still does, unfortunately, in many ways. But we've got products like the display stands and whatnot, which are laser cut, which really buffer the cash flow so that I can spend too much time on things like those Super Nintendos that we're doing right now. And we're hoping to move on to some stuff that, some bigger stuff. Because right now it's kind of like a month-to-month thing. Like, okay, we've got to make this so we can have enough income for this and blah, blah. But we'd like to do something that would require some outside capital, either by doing a crowdfunding thing or looking for some venture capital or something bigger. So we've got some ideas, nothing solid yet, but we know we can't do what we're doing right now forever, and we definitely can't grow significantly without moving on to something bigger. It just requires some capital, otherwise, we can't sustain ourselves. So.
Right. But that's kind of interesting to see the progression and see all the things that, you know, have happened since what you started to what you do now. I know Johnny's got a few favorite pieces.
Cool.
Which, we, I guess we all have things we gravitate towards. But I think the thing that I like, and it's evident when you see pictures and talk to people who have your products, is the quality is really there. So what's the design process like? Do you start with, is there an inspiration that you lean towards a material and say, this is awesome, and then the idea comes after, or how does it kind of come to life?
It's sometimes a mixture of things. I have a fellow working here now named Chris. He's been here for, I think, about 9 months. And he's a lot younger than, I'm 38. I think he's in his like early mid 20s. So, and he grew up on Pokemon and whatnot. And I did not. I was, I think, 19 or 20 when Pokemon came out, so I don't have all the nostalgia. But he often has like some neat ideas and that I wouldn't have thought of. So it's great. And he's not as fluent in the equipment and tools that we have here. So, he'll pass stuff on to me, and, usually I try to work towards, making that come to fruition. But a lot of times it's just, I'll like something. It started off, as I said, with where I was like, I want to modify this Neo Geo Pocket for myself, and then people wanted it. So a lot of it works out that way, where it's like, okay, I want to be able to do this or own this. So I do it, and then it's like, hey, you guys like this? Yes. Okay, we'll make it. It's less of that anymore, because I don't have as much time for my own projects. I have kind of virtually none. So a lot of it now, the inspiration honestly comes from like some of the equipment we have and the materials. I'll dig through and see what we have and kind of play with it and see what happens. See how it can apply to whatever. It's some sort of retro-ish gaming thing.
Which is really cool, and I think it's interesting too, because you see, like when you look through your products, you see some of the different materials, and like there's influences, and when you look through your gallery of some pieces that use wood and different things, which I think makes it really interesting to look at.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's fun. We get a little out of control sometimes in the sense that we can't we tend to not be able to stay focused on a product for very long, which you guys have probably noticed. It's like, oh, we're doing this, we sold some, okay, next. Which is, it hurts us. We're working towards not having that as much. Like we look at sites like the Analog NT guys, and they have one product at a time. They did the consoleized MVS systems for a while, and then they introduced the NT, and there's no more consoleized MVSs. And it's like, damn it, those guys can really focus on one product, whereas, we do that for a bit, and we get bored of it and move to the next thing. So that's something we're trying to work on a bit.
So why is that though? Why do you guys feel like you jump around? Do you guys just get bored, or are you just wanting to try, a lot of new things right now to see what works? Is there a method to that madness?
I totally get bored. I get bored real fast. I hate that I'm making these Super Nintendos still. They're killing me. I didn't intend for them to go into production, but actually, to be totally frank, we thought we owed a lot more taxes this year than the business than we ended up owing. So I was like, crud. All right. Once in a while, I'll make something, going back, I make something to kind of show off so that we get a little bit of press and whatnot, which means people come to the site and buy some stuff. So I made a couple of them to just kind of show off, and then we're like, oh, crud, we need some money. Well, these will make some money if we make them, so let me do that. And I didn't design them with production in mind at all. So they're proving to be extremely difficult for me to put together in any sort of like production fashion. Like I do a couple, whatever, I can make some little mistakes and it's not a big deal, but doing a lot of them, I run into a little problem here, and it's like nickel and dime problems. They're killing me. But anyways, we didn't end up owing what we thought on taxes, but we'd already promised we're gonna make them, so I'm gonna make them. But yeah, the fact that they're taking so long, I'm bored to death with them, and I want to go back and totally start the project over so that it won't be so tedious. Because the reception has been great. It's like, okay, cool, people really want this, and that's fantastic, but they are impossible to put together. And I've had to do like 95% of the production on them, which I try to not do anymore. I have a staff, so I shouldn't have to, but they're like too much of a pain in the butt to show anybody else how to do. And I was like, you know what, I'll just do them and we'll get past it, and then I'll come up with a design that we can sell as a kit and everybody else here can assemble without wanting to tear their hair out. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. I get bored. I like to try new things, which is why have so many different types of games. Sometimes it's hard to just buckle down and focus on one thing. You're like, there's so many good things, though.
Yeah, I can totally appreciate that with collecting. It's like, ooh, I like this. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, I like this. Like, dang it.
So when you design, is there anything that you really feel like you can stay focused on because it might be nostalgic from when you did collect, or is it just it doesn't matter? It's just whatever seems to spark your interest.
It kind of seems like whatever. I can stay focused on a project definitely through the development phase. I get real bored when I get into production, which is part of why I have a staff. Instead of early on, it was like, okay, I'll make 3 of these and then I'm bored and I need to do something else. But now with a staff, I can, pass things on to them and they can get many instances done, hopefully, is the idea. So we often kind of shoot for if we're going to do something that's more limited-ish and we don't plan to do ongoing, we shoot for 40 to 50. And that seems to work pretty well. But yeah, I can totally stay focused through the design and prototyping and all that just fine, because for me it's exciting at that point, because I'm coming up with stuff and I'm solving problems in that, and once it's done and producible, it's like, well, I fixed it. The problem is solved. What's next? So
yeah, there's no more designing at that point. It's just making it happen.
Yeah, that's the manual labor portion, and that's not exciting.
Yeah, it totally isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like it's kind of like, it's exciting when you're collecting and stuff like that, and then you finish something and you're like, cool, what's next?
Right. Cool, I'll put them on my shelf and they'll get dusty. Great.
Yeah, I have that problem.
I feel like you probably have a system for your cleaning, and it's done in a list and everything, Johnny.
It's not as far as keeping the collection clean. It is a huge ass problem, and I don't have a great system. It's usually all just manual bullshit work, and I'm always like, okay, maybe glass. Keeping things behind glass is the answer. That's probably my next step, actually, because I hate dusting more than most things.
Okay, well, that's fair. I can see that. I'm like, there's always dust in my game room. It doesn't matter how on top of it. I'm just like, I don't have time to do this.
Yeah.
No, especially in Southern California, it's hot, so you turn on your air conditioning and you vent your house and you open a window, and all that is just hey, I would love to introduce a bunch of dirt and filth into the house. And I also have 3 dogs who are always like, we want to be right next to you, and shed every day, all day, 365. So, it's a problem.
Well, yeah. I guess you can't win them all, right?
No, in the grand scheme of things, it's a small problem to have.
Yeah. Something Johnny and I were talking about earlier, which you're kind of curious about, is what your demographic is like. Do you tend to get more collectors that, came from collecting retro and love that and kind of want to add these pieces to their collection, or do you get people that just love video games and think it's really cool? Do you have a specific demographic, or is it totally across the board?
It's fairly across the board. It seems, well, it's kind of tricky, because I would say there are more people who are straight, more collectors than players, but those are the people that tend to spend more and I become familiar with. So saying there are more of them might not be accurate, but there are definitely a lot of people who buy to play, and they seem to be the younger crowd, the 18, 19 through early 20s crowd. Definitely seem to be the guys that buy to play, and they play, and we know because we'll get customer service emails and whatnot, and they've been playing with it. And then we get a lot of folks, like I said, the guys that I get real familiar with, the ones whose names I keep seeing coming up on packing slips and whatnot, and I'm like, this guy buys a lot of stuff. What's his deal, And that's how I end up meeting these people. And they're the ones that are least vocal about anything, because, if anything's slightly wrong with the product, they'll never know because they put it on a shelf, which is fair enough. That's kind of what we're going for with our products. But it does seem pretty across the board. There are definitely a lot of the 30 and up collector crowd, and there are definitely a good amount of the, early 20s, late teens crowd who are buying and playing, it seems like,
It's interesting that you get both, though.
It is. I never would have expected to, as things went on, early on, I expected there'd be a lot of the younger guys playing stuff, because things weren't as complex and thus not as expensive. And as time's gone on, and products have become infinitely more complex and expensive as a result, I would expect far fewer of those guys. They seem to complain a lot. They're still around. They seem to complain a lot more about the pricing. Those particular folks, and I get it. I get it. I mean, but it's just how it goes. But yeah,
it makes sense to me, like, because your early product line was, like you said, a lot of backlighting and a lot of the Game Boy Advances with the new LCD screen. So that's stuff that mainly a player one. I mean, you did a lot of like new shell art and stuff, but really it was more about the function than the form. I think initially, because I was like, when I was looking at them, I was like, oh, I would like a Game Boy with a better light system in it, because this is garbage, and also the SP isn't the most comfortable thing to hold unless you have tiny hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I started, for me, making something for myself to be more functional. I wasn't making a shelf piece for myself.
So where are you guys now? Do you think you're building more for form or more for function?
I think it's more for form at this point, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that's fine with me. I'm more about form at this point in my life than function, just because gaming, as much as I love to game, I'm sure you guys can relate, time is a limited thing, and so sometimes I don't have time to go back to every old system and play a game. Obviously, I have more games than time.
Yeah, and that's the guys that spend a lot of money, it seems, that I've met and talked to, it's the exact same situation. They have kids or, a very serious job that consumes a good chunk of their time, thus not as much time for gaming. So,
which is, I think, what I associate more with what you guys do. Like, I would think of it as a really cool collector's piece that I'd want to have and display, as opposed to something that I'm probably going to play.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're shooting for. But like I said, there are people that still definitely buy them and play with whatever we make, and that's fine. It's cool. I mean, I'm not against people playing with it, obviously, but it's sometimes funny to hear someone have a complaint about something that costs that much money. And like, I remember a guy bought one of our like acrylic Earthbound carts, or one of the 3D printed ones from years ago, and I guess I accidentally didn't design it to fit into a front loader, like a toaster. I designed it around a top loader. And he emailed me, he's like, hey, when you put this in a front loader, you can't push it down. I put the notch that you usually put your thumb into to pull the cartridge out in the center of the cartridge instead of offset. I never realized there's a plastic pin inside the NES to keep the cartridge from going down unless that notch is in there, which seems really odd. But anyway, it didn't work in his front loader. And he was upset. And I went to myself, geez, you bought a $300 cartridge, and it's like, obviously meant to be displayed, and you stick it in a toaster. But whatever. So I actually ended up making him one from scratch. Like, I went back into the CAD file and moved the notch over and printed it and cleaned it up, and he was happy as a clam. But he was the only person. He couldn't believe it. He's like, nobody else has said anything about this? We're like, nope.
No, because
you're
they're displaying it. Yeah. Why would you buy it the cheap repro if you just want to play it, and then buy this and display this one?
Yeah, we've almost joked about doing that. Like, when we sell these games, we should just not put the board in there and just put it into a blank, like a regular gray shell, and just put that in a baggie and send it along with the package.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty funny. Yeah, I would not think to, like, especially your guys' early stuff with like the Earth medallion in the middle of it. Like, I would never shove that into a front loader.
I know, I kind of thought that too. And when he sent it back, I had a bunch of scratches and scrapes on it because it had been shoved into a front loader, which has those metal guide rails. I kind of cringed. I was like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'm cringing right now.
I know, I feel the same way. I was like, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Yeah, so, like I said, people play them.
I mean, that's good. I mean, it's good if it can be pretty and functional, though. I think for me, I would just want it to be pretty, and that's good at that price point, Like Johnny said, I would just buy a cheap repro and play that.
Right, because they're cheap anymore. Anybody can make a repro. It's not like it was 5 years ago. You can go on Infinite NES Lives and, for $40 total investment, you can make yourself a SNES repro cart. And then if you want to just buy more boards and stick them into what amounts to like a USB flasher, then just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So.
That makes sense.
That's what I do for myself.
That makes sense to me. I want to know, do you have a favorite project that you guys did?
Gosh, I don't know. We were actually talking about that the other day, for whatever reason. I really like the joysticks, just because it was it was the first product line that we built completely from scratch. Like we didn't require any donor stuff, at least used donor stuff. We used brand new aftermarket like NES and SNES controllers. I like those a lot as a product line. I can't think of a specific single product that I like. As close as it gets would probably be that the Marvelous game, because that one was one of the last projects I can recall where I really wanted it for myself. I purchased a copy of that game years and years ago, the Japanese version, and was always bummed that I had a hard time playing it because it's Japanese. And when I saw that there was an English translation, they're working on an English translation, and did a little research and figured out that I could actually put it on a cartridge, because I can't stand playing emulators on the PC one. I just won't do it. I was like ecstatic. So that was a really fun project because I got to make something happen that I've wanted to happen for about 20 years. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. I have a copy of that game, a player's copy that I've been meaning to get to. Just it's actually in my to play pile, not in the to display pile.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine. I probably put about 3 or 4 hours into it, and it's hard to find time. So.
Yeah. So you don't have a specific favorite. Do you have a specific least favorite then? Is there one where you're just like, I hate you, or is it every project that you're on and you feel like you've been on too long?
The Super Nintendo project might be coming close to that.
Yeah.
I think that we had a handful of Sega Nomads, and I think I hate those the most. They're easy to modify, but we were doing all these water slide decals on them to reproduce the original look with the graphics on it, and they were just always a fight. Anything with paint is always a battle. And I was stupid and decided we did red and white. Like, we did a red version and a white version. And the white paint, if you guys have never painted, it shows every single little flaw and defect. So if there are any flaws and defects, you're constantly going back to try and fix them. And then with the water slide decals, you have to apply those, and you have to bury it in clear coat, and then you have to sand it until things get flush. And it's a process you do quite a few times. Like clear coat, sand, and it's real tedious. And I definitely screwed up quite a few paint jobs in the process, and you have to start over. And there aren't replacement shells for the Nomad, so it wasn't like the Game Boys where it was the kind of thing like, oh, you screwed up the paint on this, well, throw it away and start another one. It's like, I screwed this up. Ugh, I gotta sit there with some sandpaper and
so it's all original parts on that.
Yeah.
One. So yeah, that definitely adds a layer of challenge. And yeah, like you said, there's no starting over there.
Right.
So I have a favorite project, I think.
Oh, yeah?
For me, yeah, I do. Well, aside from the Super Nintendo that you hate that you're working on right now, I like
them when they're done, to be fair, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, the process. I mean, I have plenty of things I love, but I hated while I was doing it.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast. The Hyper Metroid you guys did with the little stand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love Metroid, so, and I missed it when you guys first released it. I was like, damn it, missed it. Okay, it's sold out. Waited on eBay until one came up, had it on my searches. Finally found it. Paid, I don't know, like $300. Guy sent it. That's what he says anyways. Never came.
Yeah.
3 months of battling between him and PayPal, and some nasty grams back and forth. Because he thought I was screwing him, and I knew I was being screwed. So
right.
Yeah, never got it, but I do love the way it looks.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's still on my save search list now. It's back on there. It's like, all right, well, let's look for that. I think I first discovered you guys, and I have a few friends who have some of your products too. But I found you guys when you were still doing mainly the Game Boy shells and stuff. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I like the designs and stuff, but I'm more of a person who collects games than systems, to be honest. So that was like, okay, I kind of filed you guys away like, hey, they do some really cool stuff. Maybe when I'm at the end of my collecting, that's when I'll look into some of this stuff. And then as you guys went along, then you guys started to do the repros, and I thought you guys did an amazing job. And like you said, you were around the same time as Time Walk. So I'm interested in that. Did you guys, you said he came and worked for you. Was it like full collaborations before that, or did you guys provide shells? Like, how was that interaction between you guys? How did that work?
Before that, we worked a little bit on a few things. He had some equipment that we didn't have, so we were making a lot of boxes by hand, like cutting them and scoring them and whatnot by hand. And he had his die press and whatnot, and digital press already. So the first thing he actually helped me with was I don't know if you remember the Zelda set that had the cast shells.
Yeah. The gold shells, the 2-box set.
Yeah, it has the cast ones with the logos like recessed, like embossed or whatever.
Yeah, love those.
Thanks. Those were also a really tricky project, but it was a learning experience. But he printed and cut the boxes for us, and he flashed the chips for us for the boards for all the games. And then after that, he helped us with Secret of Mana 2. Same thing, he did the boxes and the boards. And we'd actually, before Time Walk shut down, we'd actually set up a plan where it's like, okay, RCG is going to do like a monthly repro, and what I'll do is I'll spend the first 2 weeks of the month creating artwork and things like that, and then I'll pass it off to them, and they would produce the packaging and the boards and all that, and hopefully by the end of the month we'd have a complete package. But the only one we actually did was Secret of Mana 2, and then they shut down, and that was the only time those 2 games or sets were the only 2 that we did before working together. And then after that, he and his partner, they actually own a comic shop nearby, and Time Walk was like actually just a side thing they had for a long time that they ran out of the back of that comic shop. So after they shut down Time Walk, they went back to doing the comic stuff. That was part of the problem. They just couldn't do both things.
Right, it makes sense, their name. I was like, sure, it's like a Magic card reference.
Yep. And and they do a lot of Magic.
Yeah.
So some time went by, and he eventually was they got the store back up to snuff because it kind of fallen into disarray as a result of Time Walk doing so well. And once they got the shop up and working again, he, like so many of us, got bored. He's like, oh, well, the shop works great, I'm bored. So he wanted to come here and work for a while. So he did. He was here for about 9 months or so. And we ended up actually with a lot of their equipment and tools, and we did essentially the same thing. He would work on the chips and how to make certain games, and I would do what I still do, which is work out the aesthetics and essentially still collaborate, but actually be on the same team, like actually physically both the same place. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, one of the things I did like about them was their stuff was pretty quality, and I enjoyed that about them. And then you guys too, because I mean, I've had repros from all over, and it's always like, okay, you're gambling with a lot of those guys. And I know, like, when I go to you and when I went to Time Walk, that even though it might take a while from Time Walk, at least I knew what I was getting. There was some care and concern within and quality control standards within the project. I knew I wasn't just going to get sideways labels and bad boards and missing screws, which is a real thing that happened. I got sent a repro that had no screws in it. I was like, okay, well.
And you're very picky.
I am picky. Yeah, that's a true fact. So I'm sometimes a pain in the ass customer because I'm like, this is garbage. I mean, I'm just of a person who wants to put out high quality stuff and gets mad when it's not, and I look for my same standards in projects, which is why I appreciate you guys, because all of your stuff looks amazing and is amazing.
Well, thanks.
So,
yeah, try.
Yep, and this is just like a side note question for me. Do you guys work at all with Fishy Face games?
Yeah, a friend of mine started that as a side thing, and we actually we do when he started it, I still do all the boxes and things like all the print work and stuff for him. So, and we store all his boxes and whatnot here, so he doesn't have to keep them in his living room.
That's nice of you guys.
We got a lot of space, so we're already, so I was like, yeah, and we were printing them, and cutting them and whatnot on our die press. So sometimes he comes in and does them his own, because why not? It's just come on and print stuff and hit the die press. But yeah, they're just boxes. Luckily, they're easy to store. So.
The boxes are of a very nice quality too. I appreciate the cut on them, because the original Time Walk boxes were too thick, I thought, on Super Nintendo games, and these ones I felt like were just right. Actually, I felt like the weight was a really good weight. Sometimes you get them and they're too flimsy or too thick, and I feel like the Fishy Face ones are of a really good thickness, so I'm not surprised you guys are behind it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's the same paper we use for our boxes. Go figure.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Good deal.
All right, Kat, what on the business side, what else do we need to ask? Kat is our business expert, so I want her to.
I think we've covered a lot of it because my biggest thing was obviously I'm always interested to hear how it started and how you come up with the ideas and how it comes to life. If there are any materials that you like to use, and obviously what you guys use is really high quality, and we covered all of that. So I think I kind of ran through my how it became what it is questions.
Okay. Well, let me ask one more businessy question. As far as the project you guys work on, we touched a little bit on that. But are you the master of all the projects, or do the guys you work with get to come in and you said the one guy gets to he submits some ideas because he's a little bit younger. I myself am 37, so yeah, I miss Pokemon too. But is there anyone? Do they captain their own projects, or do you kind of captain the ship and then hand out direction, not directives, but like direction to them?
It's mostly the former there. But sometimes these guys come up with their ideas, and anymore, I don't always have the time to direct everything entirely. Like I butt in once in a while and see what's going on. But yeah, sometimes these guys have their ideas, and if it works out with what we have going on, time-wise and budget-wise, yeah, it's like, go ahead, guys. And then there's more and more of that happening lately. It hadn't for a long time. For a long time, it was 100% me coming up with the projects and whatnot, and then handing them off for production. Figuring out how to make it work, and then handing it off. But a lot of times anymore, these guys are coming up with ideas, and they're good ones. We can't always do all of them. We have like a huge list of things. It's funny because once in a while someone's like, "Oh, we should do this," and I'm like, "Right, when?" When do you see us doing that? And it's like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." But yeah, it's neat to see that, and it's good to know that these guys are into it as much as I am, and at least a couple guys here are really, really, really into it. So it's good. It's fun.
Okay. Well, I'll throw one more on your pile of when are you going to do this one? I want a one-handed, like if you remember on the Nintendo, they had like a one-handed controller.
Yeah.
That was great for RPGs.
Yeah, they had it for the PlayStation too. I have one for the PlayStation.
Yeah, I have it for two.
Yeah.
Now I need one for Super Nintendo to play RPGs because you only need you don't need the full both hands on the controller for RPGs.
Totally.
Yeah.
You got a Doritos hand and then.
Yeah, right. I want to be able to drink and eat while I play RPGs, especially if I'm going to be there for 16 hours while I commit 70 hours into a game.
I think they made one, didn't they? I think Hori made one, didn't they?
Did they? I don't know.
The problem is I think it's perfectly round. It looks like it's really uncomfortable to hold. I'll have to look it up again.
The PS one was pretty good,
yeah.
And the NES one was pretty good too. I have both of those.
Okay. I swear I remember seeing one, but like I said, it looks like a hockey puck. I'm like, that doesn't look that ergonomic.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
that wouldn't be that hard a thing to do. There's only one piece of logic on this NES board. I don't know how hard those PlayStation controllers are to find. It would just require building a board around the design for the PlayStation controller, the one-handed controller, and a place to plop the logic for the SNES, and of course, just putting the cord out the back.
Just saying, you could theme like 3 of them, like Secret of Mana 2 or the Final Fantasy Super Nintendo would be excellently themed to go with it.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Johnny's got an agenda.
A little bit, yeah, absolutely. I've got. Okay, cool. So, and that Super Nintendo, the Final Fantasy Super Nintendo. We keep seeing updated pictures of that. When do we get that? When does that come live? Can you say yet?
Gosh, honestly, I'm hoping to tomorrow. Like, we sort of need to. I've been working on it for a long time, and we haven't had anything else, like, big project-wise. So, budget-wise, we kind of need to. So I'm hoping, like, tomorrow or Tuesday, we can actually put it up for sale. I have to sort out the price, and I have to finish the packaging. I have to put the last 3 of them together, but, nothing that won't take me days on end.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm like constantly checking you guys. I'm like doing a search on you guys constantly, making sure it hasn't been announced. I'm like, I was on a business trip, and I'm like, if this happens while I'm gone and I miss it, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, I've had plenty of people say that kind of thing to me, and I always feel bad. Especially if it's like a regular long-time customer. Like, I missed that thing, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but you missed it.
A lot of times we keep a handful around for that reason. like people that, longtime customers or whatnot.
Yeah.
We don't play
Well,
favorites
you wanna...
particularly, but, people that have been around for a long time and spent a lot of money, I don't want to.
You'll reward loyalty. They helped you.
Right, exactly.
Help them back.
These are a little tricky because I'm only making a handful and whatnot. But a lot of like the games, we keep a handful of them around and they slowly kind of get, sold off and whatnot and traded out. So.
Okay.
This one, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, like I said, we'll go back and redesign the whole thing so that we can have more of them. So it won't be this horrible labor of love/hate to produce.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it, and I guess, Kat, do you have anything else in the questions range here, or should we move on to the second part of the show?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so in the second half, we always ask our two questions, and let me ask now: do you get to collect it all, or is it all just work?
No, I definitely collect. I don't get to play a whole lot, but I do collect. That's for sure.
Okay, so what is the last game you bought to slap in your collection?
I'm trying to think. I buy hardware a lot more than anything.
Okay, it could be hardware too.
I just recently got this past week one of those. I don't know if you've ever seen them. The Vistion portable. It's a DVD player / Game Boy Advance. It actually has a Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I've been hunting for one of those for a good year or so. Looking for a good price on them. One popped up on eBay not long ago for a really good price, and I picked it up. So,
yeah, those are pretty interesting. They look like those like radios that you hang under counters in kitchens.
Yep, and that's exactly what it is. It's meant to be mounted in like a minivan or an SUV on the ceiling.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
In fact, that's the only way you could get them was through a Chevy, and I believe for a short period of time a Chrysler dealership as a dealer installed option. You could not buy them alone at retail. So
that explains why you don't see very many of them.
Yeah,
I guess.
And they're starting to pop up. So dealerships must be finally starting to liquidate the things at auction or something.
Yeah, they're catching up. Kat, what about you? What have you bought for the collection? Anything?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
No.
This is Kat. All damn month.
Yeah.
Nothing. Thanks, Kat. Really, just helping me out here.
Yeah, well, I figure you buy enough for like you, me, and 10 other people, so we're okay.
That is the truth. That is a 100% fact. In fact, yesterday, I bought 50 Vita games like last week into this week, and those all just came because I don't know why the hell not Vita is pretty much my mantra right now, and yeah. 40 Game Boy games, or Game Boy Advance games anyways, because they were all like $1 each in the box, between $1 and $2, and I can't pass up a deal. I have a problem.
I tell you, the price on those, by and large, has really not gone up. Like GBA games, there are very scant few that are expensive, but boy, they are just not going up in price.
No, and they will eventually. They'll catch on. I think really in GBA it's about kind of cherry picking the right titles, and not just buying the bulk, because there's a lot of shovelware. Same with DS.
Yeah.
DS,
the DS has so much garbage.
Yeah, DS and the Wii. That's why I like the 3DS and the Wii U. I feel like they are far more focused systems without all the garbage, and that's probably because they couldn't get enough third-party support, but whatever, it makes for a very refined library.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Wii is tricky to collect for in terms of finding the gems. I'll go to local stores and the used stores, and they'll have just massive amounts of Wii games, and I'm like, which ones do I know I want? I don't even know how to know anymore.
No, it's hard. People are collecting for it more and more now, so some of those that one looks good comes out now. I feel like people are more on top of that, but like a year ago it was like people said there's 5 good games for the
right.
They're all first party, and now people are like, oh no, there's like a list, and now people at least have a list rather than just reciting off the top of their head.
Yeah, I actually follow a guy, I think it's Wayne's Games on Instagram, and he seems to be pretty big into Wii collecting right now, and he's honestly like my measuring stick for whether or not I want a Wii game,
Yeah, he started collecting Wii games, and he told me this because I posted a picture of a large lot of Wii games I had bought, and then he just exploded, and then he was past me in 3 days at every GameStop in a 100-mile radius.
I saw that. He was like, yeah, I drove for 6 hours a day to get. I'm like, wow, that's
Oh yeah,
dedication.
that's dedication. Yeah, he did a really nice job. He sold off a big chunk, and I decided to buy a pinball machine and wanted to buy all of his Wii games. Didn't happen. Probably for the best, because where the hell would I put them? I'm out of space. Unless you have a big shop, right? I can just store my Wii games there.
Yeah,
along
sure.
With,
It's kind of funny. I'm actually in the middle of moving, like my family. My entire game collection is here in the shop because I'm not going to put it in a moving van or anything to that effect. Like that is.
Oh yeah,
that is going to go in my car piece by piece by piece. It's going to take forever to get it to here, all the way here, and then all the way to the new house. But so.
You know, I did that same thing when we moved from our last house here. I literally boxed it all up individually and drove it in my car rather than put it in the moving van.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard too many horror stories.
Yeah, no thanks. It's one of my fears with like a long distance move. Like, well, what the hell would I do with the collection? How would I even do it?
You'd have to get a big ass U-Haul.
And I would have to like drive it myself.
Yeah, and then like maybe fly back to get whatever else you have to get.
Well, it'd be worth it, I think.
Yeah,
in the
that's
end.
probably what I would do, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's cool to hear that you're actually in like retro shops too, like hunting for games, and it's not all work. You get out there in the field a little bit.
Yeah, although to be perfectly honest, most of the time when I'm out, I'm looking for stuff for the shop. But
well,
while I'm there, so
yeah, you can be like, well, one for the shop, one for me.
yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. And the other question we like to ask, and it doesn't sound like you have much time to play, but are you playing anything?
Gosh, I'm trying to think what I've been playing recently. Oh, I picked up a copy. I must have sold mine forever ago. I didn't even know. Crystalis for the NES. I picked up one recently because I saw some John Blue Riggs, I think, posted up a copy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I never played this forever. I'm like, oh, I love that game. And I was like, I'm going to go play it. And I went to my shelf and I'm like, where is it? And it might be somewhere. I might have 2 copies now. I don't know. But either way, I went right on eBay and grabbed one. So I've been playing that again. And also I've been playing Lolo 3 because I never finished it as a kid. And I just picked up another copy like a month ago. So
Nice.
I love that franchise. I really wish that would have carried on into a new console somewhere. Bums.
Yeah, it's weird, all the shitty remakes of all of the games they've made, they haven't hit Lolo yet. You'd figure that would be on there. There's 3 on the Super Nintendo, or on the NES, but didn't even come to Super Nintendo at all, right?
Nope, not at all.
It's
just
weird.
those 3. So.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I love Crystalis. I told Kat, like, when we did our, like, top 5, that was in my, that weren't, like, third-party Nintendo, Konami, or Capcom games. That was in my top 5.
That was Johnny's version of a top 5 with a whole bunch of restrictions.
Yeah.
You gotta have restrictions with that kind of stuff, because, well, for me, I would too, because otherwise it's more Zelda, Mario 3,
Right, then that's what I wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
Like, same old shit. No one wants to hear that again.
Yeah. It's like the Rare Gems videos that still come up on, the new ones that come up on YouTube. I'm like, guys, it's been covered. There are no NES Rare Gems out there that people don't know about. It's
Hidden gem on the NES.
Yeah.
Really?
Nope.
It's more like, hey, this game is uncommon and a bunch of people didn't buy it, so maybe it's good. Rare gem.
Exactly.
Yeah. I roll my eyes at that stuff. But yeah, that's why I put the restrictions in. Crystalis was on there. There's also a really good Game Boy Color version of it too.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, but as soon as you're saying it, I owned that at one point. I don't have tons of Game Boy games. That'd be one to pick up.
Yeah, it's a good one. One I've taken with me a few times. And I guess that brings us to Kat. Kat, what about you? Did you get to play anything this week? I know your week was crazy.
No, I haven't, but I'm hoping that my plan is to be finished work at a reasonable time tonight, as is John. So I'm thinking some Mario Kart, which means I'm going to beat John, as I always do. But that is
He's
my
like,
hope.
enough of that.
So Mario Kart for you. For me, yeah, that's what my wife does to me on Mario Kart too. It's we play so she can beat me.
Oh.
It's fun for one of us.
Oh, well. You can't win them all.
No, or any of them usually. Not usually once. What did I play this week? Not much. I was traveling for work, and you would think I would have brought a portable system, but I did not. I had my Vita packed, and I was going to bring it, and had to leave for the airport at 4 a.m. and then left it sitting on my bed charging. So that was no-go. So I played like iPhone games, which was a little bit of Final Fantasy IV on the iPhone, which is hard to play, and a game called Star Realms, which is like a card game made into an iPhone app. So there it is. No good retro stories there. Hopefully get some gaming in tonight, though. It's hard, though. it's Sunday, so it's Game of Thrones and Silicon Valley. You know, it's like TV night for me.
Okay.
All right. Anything else you got to throw at him, Kat?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Anything you want to throw at us? Anything you need to promote, want to talk about? Things we missed, things we should know about Rose-Colored Gaming or you yourself?
I'm kind of brain dead. I don't know. I can't think of anything, but thanks.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show today. We really appreciate you taking out the time. I know you are super busy.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, everybody, let's throw out those Instagram handles. Kat, where can we find you?
You can find me at Katsylvania, Katselvania.
And Wiggy, where on social media and the internet can we find you?
We're on Instagram. It's just Rose-Colored Gaming, one word. And we're also on Facebook, Facebook/Rose-Colored Gaming, one word. We're some other places too, but I'm not the person who's 100% on top of that. So if you Google us, we're out there. But those are the two big ones. So.
Okay, awesome. And I am Johnny.Iucci at, I get my own name wrong, Johnny.Iucci at Instagram, and that's JOHNNY.IUCCI. All right, everybody, we will